Hello and welcome to episode 79 of the Perth to Paisley Podcast, a podcast dedicated to Scottish Cup semi-finalists Heart of Midlothian Football Club. The Jambos made it 4 from 4 against St Mirren this season to book their place in the last 4 of this season's competition. And joining me to discuss Hearts heading for Hampden is Daniel McIver. Daniel, how are you?
Doing all right. It's been an interesting 24 hours after something that we'll speak about.
It has.
We'll speak about that later. But in general, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm up to my neck in uni work at present. I can't sleep for whatever reason, and now I'm having even more sleepless nights because of what you just referenced and what we'll come to later on. Again, I can't believe that Hearts' success on Saturday means it's the first time we've beaten St Mirren 4 times in the same season since 85-86. The less said about that season, the better, but what a stat that is.
Yeah, exactly. And what a last time to do it in terms of a historic season for both clubs. But yeah,
yes,
that was the thing, as we said a couple of weeks ago when we played in Paisley, and we both said that we couldn't remember the last time we'd beaten them twice in Paisley in the same season. It's because we weren't even alive for it. And then it turns out we have to go even further back to have the full gamut over them as well.
That we did. And we'll come to, obviously, our match with the Buddies at Tynecastle. But before we do so, of course, we're going to go around the grounds like we always do. So Hearts and Mirren was the only Scottish Cup tie on the Saturday, a 7:45 kickoff.
I love them now.
How good was that? That was incredible. I was reeking. I was playing catch up because my pals had been in the pub since, what time did Soccer Saturday come on? 12 o'clock.
12.
They were there for 12-1. So I just nipped into the boozer. Diggers, give a wee shout out to Diggers. Nice. Straight on vodka Red Bulls. Flying. Doubles as well. Yeah, I had a fair few. However, that was obviously the Saturday. And then the Sunday, we saw Motherwell and Hibernian go head-to-head at Fir Park. Hibs winning by 2-1 against the 10-man Steelmen. And elsewhere, Rangers eased past Dundee at Dens 3-0 in perhaps the most predictable performance result, you name it. Obviously, that was later on the Sunday after Hibs had booked their spot in the last 4. And Monday night, we're recording the Tuesday night. So last night, Celtic completed the trio as they also got the better of a Dundee side, winning 3-0 at Tannadice against United. We'll come to the draw. Obviously, now that was the 2 Edinburgh clubs and the 2 Glasgow clubs in the last 4. But what did you make of the 4 ties? Because was there any real surprises perhaps for you?
No, really. I feel like the Glasgow ties are kind of non-events. They were just exactly.
We were begging for Motherwell Hibs, weren't we?
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They were just. The Rangers and Celtic games went exactly as everybody predicted they would do. I watched the Motherwell Hibs game though, and obviously the red card totally changes the entire point of the game. I don't know what Mugabe's doing.
You're at home. It's a cup quarter-final, a game away from the National Stadium against a side that cannot score for love nor money, and your centre half gets sent off after 2 minutes. Not even inside the minute.
Was 50 seconds. Yeah.
I was out for lunch on Sunday, so I was obviously getting the updates and could not believe it when I'd seen red card Motherwell inside, a minute.
It was ridiculous. However, I will say, if you watched that game, particularly the second half, you would not think Motherwell were down to 10 men at all. Hibs were absolutely terrible and were lucky to have got that 2-goal lead. Not lucky in terms of they didn't deserve it in the first half. They definitely did. But second half, they were lucky that they had that cushion, because if they didn't, it was going to extra time.
Was it not 2-1 at half time? So Motherwell had pulled one back.
Yeah, Motherwell right at the end. It was like the 43rd minute or something like that. Jordan Roberts shoots, but it kind of deflects.
Ricochets off the boy. Yeah, I did see that. I saw the goals. 2 great goals from the young Norwegian fella. But like you say, the Old Firm, it was routine.
Yeah, basically. And now the semi-finals are set. And speaking about stats, obviously this is now the first time in the competition's history that both Glasgow and both Edinburgh clubs are in the semi-final, which I just still refuse to believe. I don't believe that.
That is a corker. But thinking about it, is it all that surprising, given more likely than not, it's going to be us or Hibs that let that down?
There has been 21 occasions previously where 3 out of the 4 have done it.
21, and what's the Scottish Cup been? Has the Scottish Cup been since about 1873?
It's something like that, yeah.
Is that right? That's terrible. First international was 1872.
It's in the 1800s it started.
1870s, yeah. And it's only cropped up 20 times or 21 times.
Yeah.
That's madness.
I find that stat almost a bit more insane because you'd think that in a century and a bit, there would be more than just...
Those three of the 4 clubs would be mainstays.
Yeah. That's just under a quarter. You would expect it to be... I know there's so many clubs in the pyramid, but still, you'd expect it to be happening more and more, especially in times, perhaps in the early 1900s, where it's like, we were winning everything. Celtic were winning everything. Rangers were winning everything. Hibs were winning everything. Surely in those periods of times, the other 3 clubs were also doing somewhat decent in the cup competition.
But evidently not. Yeah. Astounding.
Yeah.
Absolutely astounding. But needless to say, it is the last 4. Do you want to talk about the draw now, or shall we come to the tie and then...
Let's speak about the draw after the tie. Let's explain how we got to
that's it. We're dropping that little teaser. This is where loads of folk are just going to skip over.
Exactly.
But after, a whole plethora of players ended up on the Tannadice treatment table, Hart Midlothian and Robbie Nielsen made 3 enforced changes from the side that drew with United at Tannadice in the Premiership, like I say. And was 3 decent enough in terms of, there was a potential that there was 6 casualties. It's not great, but do you get where I'm coming from? Like, it could have been worse.
I expected there to be more because there was rumours.
I think I did as well.
There was rumours that Mackay, Benny and Haring all had wee niggles. And I was thinking, well, that's like the entirety of our midfield and creativity gone if they're eliminated. Obviously, Gordon had the treatment after the McNulty challenge last week. And there was in my head, I was terrified it was going to be like Ross Stewart and Macaulay Tate lining up. So only the 3 changes, I was actually really optimistic when I saw the starting lineup.
And the 3 changes in question were Peter Haring, Ben Woodburn, and Andy Halliday coming in for John Suter, Gary Mackay-Steven, and Cammy Devlin, with Hearts lining up as follows. In a 4-2-3-1 formation, it was Craig Gordon in goal. Back 4 of Nathaniel Atkinson, Craig Halkett, Stephen Kingsley at left centre-half, and Andy Halliday at left-back. Benny Beringame and Peter Haring sat in front of the back 4, with Barry Mackay and Ben Woodburn on the flanks, Liam Boyce supporting Ellis Sims in attack. As strong an 11 as we could have named, mate?
Yeah, definitely, especially when you look at the bench and only Aaron McEneff was kind of like a game-changing substitute because there was just a trio of uncapped, if you want to call it, teenagers. And you looked at that, and the main thing for me was that's actually a surprisingly stronger team than I was expecting. But B, this team is going to have to get the job done because what is now funny to think back on, I was thinking we can't rely on Aaron McEneff to single-handedly win us this time.
Well, at least you're honest and said that,
My analysis is spot on as ever.
But anybody could have just dismissed that. I thought that they'd had come 7:30 on Saturday night. The early exchanges, not a lot happened before Hearts would take the lead. Eamon Brophy has a snapshot from a tight angle that's easily gathered by Craig Gordon. Barry Mackay then tries his luck a minute after. You know the outcome already because he's still not bloody scored. This is an absolute disgrace. A wee give a go with Sims, but it's saved routinely by Jack Anick. And then Liam Boyce has an effort which goes down Jack Anick's throat, I should say, before Hearts take the lead on 15 minutes. I could not believe my eyes. The unlikeliest of goal scorers, my Congolese king, doing what he does, delighted that it came at the Roseburn end so that I could see more of it rather than it being up at the Gorgie. But if we discuss the goal, Barry Mackay crosses for Ellis Sims after receiving from Liam Boyce. How Ellis Sims does not score is beyond me. But to be honest, I did not care. The first time that Benny Beningame has ever wandered into the opposing 6-yard box, and there he is to stab home 1-0, the scrappiest of goals. Do not care. And I was absolutely buzzing. I could not believe it. Christened the new boots and everything, because I don't think I've seen him wear those red boots before. No. What a guy. What a great goal. Loved it.
Of course, Benny's goal would come in the form of a tackle into the net, because it's not a shot. He kind of just rushes the ball. Yeah, and just goes, I'll just act as if I'm making a challenge. I usually get the ball when I do that, and just kind of rushes in. I mean, I will be honest. I'll be honest. As soon as I realised it was Benny, the first thing I did was think of how you must be going mental.
Mate, could not believe my eyes. Genuinely, like I say, the new boots, I just adore him. I really, really do. His interview afterwards, he's talking about the boys getting on it like Barry Mackay for not scoring yet. That was wholesome content for my Saturday night. And considering I've had a couple, obviously, I was vulnerable. I was too. Could feel it. We'll overlook the fact that he said 2-2 down. Obviously,
no, I like that. I like that mentality. A draw's getting beat.
Well, no, it's not. I don't think it's a mentality thing. I think he's just knackered from the 90 minutes.
I take it as a positive that he views a draw as a loss, and I like that.
Well, either way, that's exactly the mentality that I'm after as well. If you truly believe that is that,
yeah, definitely. Jack Hannock gets an assist because he just passes it to him.
Like my Congolese king. If you know, you know. What a player.
I don't know what's going on with Sims and Hannock. Like, Hannock seems to forget he has hands. Yeah, like, he seems to just forget that he's a goalkeeper and can pick it up, because he just exclusively tries to use his feet to get it away from Sims. And as a result, I mean, again, I know I say this a lot on this podcast and people will get sick of it, but I have personal experience with Jack Hannock in goals, as he was Newcastle's goalkeeper for 2 years. And this is the Jack Hannock I've been waiting on arriving. In the last couple of games against us, he's been doing what I expect him to do. There's been all these other games.
Fingers crossed he's doing it for Aberdeen next season, because that seems to be the rumour, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But delighted for Benny. You could tell with not just his celebration, but the way the squad reacted to him. Everybody was delighted about it. Nielsen took the piss out of him in his post-match interview. Just a great time all round.
It really was. I honestly felt like a proud father. Look, and from there on in, all we were asking for was to keep up that sort of intensity, because there was only 15 minutes on the clock when we take the lead. Yeah. And can I just say, like we briefly touched on it, the 7:45 kickoff.
Can we just have them forever now?
Game changer. It was absolutely electric at Tiny on Saturday
amazing.
Night. Under the lights, everybody reeking, everybody cheering on the boys.
I was just sat there, sober, loving life.
But you must have felt like you'd had a couple in you.
Well, this is the
crazy
thing.
Nature.
So I obviously don't drink, but it was. I don't even know what it was. Maybe it was just because everybody else was steaming, and it's a Scottish Cup tie, so it's different. Like, cup ties are always different. But it was amazing. I want every game at quarter to 8 on a Saturday now. Let's get Livy this weekend. Move to quarter to 8. It'll be 5-all.
We're not interested. We're not interested in Jeff and the boys reporting on Soccer Saturday.
I never watched them anyway. Fuck them.
No.
So who cares?
That show has died a death, but we're not here to talk about Soccer Saturday. We're here to talk about the men in maroon. And look, we then go 2-0 up. Ellis Sims had shot and it trickled out for a throw-in. We're going to excuse that, and we're just going to come on to Big Pedro.
That was really funny. That was because he does so well, and it's like a really good move, and it's like, oh, it's gone out for a throw.
That's the element of Sims where I'm like, he's really good, but he is still a wee bit raw. Because there was a couple of my pals, like the whole gang were out. It was great, and there's a couple that weren't too confident in his first touch. I don't think it's that bad because I still think his hold-up play is effective. I think he gets into good areas. His shooting is suspect at times, but listen, if he needs a couple and still bags one, I'm all for it.
What's he got, like 4 and 8 or something? Like,
can't
great
argue
return.
with it. Yeah. And exactly, and I was adamant that he should have been kept on the park when a couple of my pals were, saying that his first touch was rank and should have been taken off.
I think his first touch can be a bit suspect sometimes, but I don't think it's that much of a negative because, as you say, his all-round game is really good, so I can excuse that.
He's what Armand Nandwili should have been.
A big focal point that we can actually build upon.
And can score goals.
Yeah. What a novelty. Talking about scoring goals, I felt like a proud dad at this point.
And a big man, a very big man. Breaks to Liam Boyce after Ellis Sims holds up. Northern Irishman sends it out wide to Ben Woodburn, who, in fairness, sends a gorgeous first-time pass. And there he is, into big Peter Haring's path. Pedro coming along, stabbing home from all of about 8 yards. Simple stuff, great goal, 2-0 to the famous. Happy days.
I really appreciated his celebration because he kind of just does that, and I really liked it. He just does a wee shuffle, and it's great. I mean, listen, I will hold my hands up here. I don't think in the first half he was that great. I thought he was good. I thought he was winning the ball back a lot. I thought his passing was a bit suspect. Second half, he just came out and became prime Peter Haring again, and he got BBC's man of the match. I just think it's mental if we don't offer him a deal. Again, if he chooses not to sign, totally different. But if Joe Savage and Robbie Nielsen have decided he's in a group that we don't know, then I'm worried about next season's footballing decisions, because look at that performance and tell me he doesn't deserve a new deal.
That's all we've said. Look, we bore everybody to tears every week with saying that we're both big admirers of Pete. Needless to say, we're both hoping that he is offered that new deal and chooses to accept.
I will say, you mentioned him. I thought we'll actually get to him in a wee bit. Oh God. But I'll say a positive.
Is this our number 9?
I'll say a positive for him. It was a good pass.
It's a great pass.
It's a really good pass.
I don't excuse that.
I'll speak about him later.
Yeah, my concern is then what he does for over an hour after that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that, but we'll get to that when it comes.
We will get to that. However, Hearts had gone 2 to the good, but it would only last for 6 minutes. As the Buddies would pull one back. Jack Annick goes long. Greg Kilty flicks on after a collision with Andy Halliday. Richard Tate is marauding up from right back, drives on, picks out Eamon Brophy, who sends a sweet volley past Craig Gordon in a flash right into the top corner. 2-1, certainly game on. And I've said on this podcast that I'm a fan of Eamon Brophy. I know he's not the most prolific of goal scorers, but I just feel as though whenever I watch him, he is a nuisance. He occupies defenders, but that's a fantastic finish. And then questions aren't asked, but it certainly is a little bit more sceptical in the stands, would you not say, McIver?
So I think Eamon Brophy is like one of the most overhyped players in Scotland.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, it's all right. I think he's terrible. I think Halkett, again, like he did in Paisley, just bodied him for 90 minutes, and there was an aspect of...
That's because Craig Halkett's blossomed.
The best player in the world. I think there's an aspect of the fact that the Hearts team switch off because they assume a foul's coming, and it doesn't, so they're out of position.
You're not discrediting the finish.
No, that's what I'm saying. So they're out of position by a step, and Brophy's capitalised on that and got in front and managed to hit it. It's an amazing finish. Don't take anything away from that. But that doesn't... But I saw a lot of people on Twitter be like, see, that's proof that Brophy's great. It's like, well, I've seen plenty of strikers have one-off great goals. And it's like, well, then what does he do for the rest of the game? He did absolutely nothing for the rest of the game when St Mirren needed their strikers to pull them back in.
I don't know. I feel as though that's down to a solid Hearts performance.
Definitely, absolutely. But at the same time, great players and people who... Because Brophy's kind of got this like cult following in Scottish football. I don't really know
That
where
was
it's
good.
come from.
That thing.
Yeah, the big bad
Wolf and
wolf
all this.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was too sweet, and R.I.P. Scott Hall. But I mean, I just think Brophy, if he was at the level he was going to be at, that a lot of people have said he was going to, he would get that goal and be like, right, switched on now, and create at least another chance. I don't remember him doing anything else for the rest of the game. I'm not expecting him to suddenly just get St Mirren on his back and go, I'm dragging you to Hampden.
Well, this is the thing, because at 2-1, I was looking at it thinking, we've praised St Mirren for a little piece. You know, I know obviously now it's Stephen Robinson as opposed to Jim Goodwin in the dugout, but Jim Goodwin had assembled a decent squad. They're not a bad side, St Mirren. And it's when they pulled it back to 2-1 that, again, he'd only really had that snapshot early on. And other than that, they didn't really threaten. So that was my concern, that it was basically them scoring their first goal from their second chance.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. And I think that you're entitled to worry, considering we are Hearts and we have a lot of previous for this. But listen, I said it on Twitter afterwards, and people can believe me or not. Obviously, saying this from the benefit of hindsight, at no point during this game was I worried we wouldn't win. I disagree slightly as well that St Mirren are a decent side. I think Jim Goodwin is a good manager and got better performances out that side. And to be honest, we're now seeing with Stephen Robinson, this squad's. I don't think they're the worst squad.
In the job, in fairness.
Exactly, and it'll be interesting to see what he does in the summer with bringing in these new players. But I think they're a bottom six side. I don't think they're a top six side.
I don't know. I think it's a bit harsh. Look, either way, for me, not that the complexion of the game changed, but certainly, I don't know.
We lost our rhythm.
We did. There was something in the air, I think, for a little bit. I mean, Jordan Jones has a free kick which is headed into Gordon's gloves again by Eamon Brophy. And the last chance of the first half was one that really, really infuriated me. Because
I don't even know what you're going to say. I have no memory.
It smashes off the bar after a Halliday in-swinging corner, headed back in by Haring. Boyce sort of goes for the spectacular. He's trying some overhead kick. But it drops to Hawks, who smashes the woodwork. Could not believe it. Remained 2-1. And then Benny Beningame, doing what he does, commits a fantastic foul to prevent a Saints counter afterwards. My guy.
My dad was furious at that.
The Beningame one?
Yep, he was
I thought that was a fantastic foul. I
think it was. I was like,
maybe down alcohol.
But I think with my sober head, I was shouting, "Foul on Benny! Just foul him!" Because
100%. They were away.
Yeah, exactly. But I do get my dad's point, and I saw other people say this. The evening you said it. It kind of meant that Benny lost a bit of his efficiency, because I thought Benny was outstanding on Saturday night.
He's got that little bit more caution that he's on a booking or whatever.
Because he was fulfilling the Devlin role, because Haring is obviously the more cultured, calm one who controls it. So Benny then had to go, oh, okay, I need to be the energetic one winning the ball back. And he was amazing at it. He was so good. But then the booking kind of meant,
club record sale, bring that back.
The booking kind of meant that he couldn't do it as efficiently. So I think he kind of fell out the game a wee bit. Still thought he was great, but I think he went from a 9 to an 8.
Fair enough. I can't dispute that. What a wonderful footballer. 3-year deal. Unbelievable.
It's so weird that the injury was actually the best thing that's happened to him, because he started to drop off a wee bit.
Yeah, I think you might be right, because it seems as though he's got to re-earn that place.
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan of us not just chucking him back in there. Previous management regimes would have gone, he's been absolutely outstanding up to now. He's taken a knock. We're gagging on him getting back. We rush him back. He probably then gets injured again, and it's worsened. Yep. Whereas now we're biding our time. Also counting on others to perform in his absence. Don't get me wrong. But he has re-earned it. And you're right. He's been fantastic since he was injured.
Yep, definitely.
Credit to my Congolese king. What a player. Second half starts off. In fact, no, if we get to half-time, 2-1 up, you're thinking, grab a third and this is done.
I thought it was even done if we didn't score again. I didn't see them scoring again. And for obvious reasons, they needed something special to score. But yeah, I think that they didn't make a lot of clear-cut chances. And I think like 70% of that is down to the fact that we defended incredibly well. And then especially with what is basically a makeshift defence. There was essentially one player playing the position.
Kingsley again, outstanding.
Kingsley is just, it's unbelievable. Like he said in an interview with, I actually think it was just the club's media, where he was like, oh yeah, I've played exclusively up until I went to Swansea at left back, and then I kind of moved a wee bit. And then coming up here, I've never played left centre half before. And you'd think that is his actual position, watching him. I will say, I don't want to be too negative, but I want to speak about, because half time's a good time. I'm really, really running out of patience, Will.
I knew it. Can I just say, I'm inclined to agree.
I would prefer him as a winger. Because I think going forward, he looks really good.
I don't even think he's all that decent going forward, if I'm honest. I know later down the line.
Yeah, we'll get to him being efficient. Yeah, but
he is suspect defensively.
Your primary job as a defender is to defend.
Yeah, and you'd voice your concerns with regards to replacing Michael Smith. Totally get that, because Smith is a steady Eddie at the back, and I don't want to say he's just as good going forward as he is defensively, because I do think he's a better defender than going forward.
But however, you can rely on him.
Exactly. He's still of, an adequate standard.
Atkinson does this thing, by the way, now that I thought, maybe he's just doing that. I noticed it first in the Celtic game. I was like, maybe he's just doing that because he's a wee bit nervous and he doesn't know. He just wants to impress. Now I'm like, oh no, he thinks that's the right move. He gets the ball. I notice it more in the first half because he's down at my side, and he takes it, and instead of playing the ball up the line or playing it inside to his centre-half partnership, he takes a touch inside and attempts to play a switch. It has still to this day, it's never worked. Hatate scored from it.
He's John Suter.
Yeah, Hatate scored from it because it allowed Tom Rogic to nick the ball off him as he went to play the ball, plays it to Hatate. Ramirez nearly scored from it in the Aberdeen game because whoever was on the left-hand side for Aberdeen nicked it off him, and then Ramirez played through for it. And there was a time away. Was
that the Birmingham recover or
Stephen
Kingsley recover?
Stephen Kingsley recovery, yeah.
We talked about that. Yeah, I didn't realise that come from the Atkinson pass.
I totally get it. Next season, once he's had a pre-season under his belt, that will change it. And I do understand when people say you can't just compare it to Cammy Devlin, who's hit the ground running, because they are different. And I totally agree with that. But in my opinion, we need to go and sign a right back in the summer because I don't trust him.
What I will say is, you need to only look at who's in the dugout as well to improve defensively as a right back.
I just don't get it. How can he have him as a manager and not be improving?
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because Nathaniel Atkins is probably better going forward than Robbie ever was.
Yeah.
Like, Robbie Nielsen was a solid defender.
That whole right-hand side was really suspect. I'm saying there I was really confident I was, but all their... Ironically,
who was on the right? Woodburn
and Atkinson.
Say no more. Honestly, sick of it.
I just felt that Woodburn nearly gave away a penalty in the first half as well by doing the most ridiculous thing ever. He just doesn't clear it and then just goes to kick somebody.
I'm just thinking about our upcoming fixtures. Alan Forrest has been flying for Livy. Reagan Charles Cook's been flying for Ross County.
That terrifies the shit out of me.
Jesus. Oh dear.
But positivity for now. Yeah. I mean, we're about to get you something negative, but it's fine. Actually, no, it's positive. I don't care. It's positive.
Yeah, I was going to say it. The negativity is only St Mirren having an opportunity beforehand. In fairness, Jack Annick had saved from Joe Shaughnessy nearly inadvertently putting into his own net after Ben Woodburn had shot. That was hilarious. There's a Saints corner, which Greg Kilty's header. Obviously a Richard Tate cross that's saved by Gordon. But
hold on, because all this comes from Atkinson. St Mirren clear it.
This is an Atkinson agenda you've got here.
But I think the entire first half, most of their chances came at fault of Atkinson, and their goal comes from Atkinson because it is.
Jordan Jones is a good player as well, to be fair.
Yes, absolutely.
I do like Jordan Jones.
But
always have.
It is a long ball up for Atkinson before that corner that you're about to speak about, that you just mentioned there, where Greg Kilty heads over. Atkinson lets it bounce in front of him instead of just putting his foot through it or putting his head through it.
That's the golden rule as a defender. Don't let the ball bounce.
It's unbelievable.
Even I know that.
Yeah.
I've never played at the back of my life.
Then it goes out for a corner on the kind of Wheatfield side, which goes out for a corner, which is the Greg Kilty corner, which goes out for a corner, which is what you're about to speak about. So it all came from Atkinson just not putting his head through it, putting his foot through it, or controlling it.
And this is the thing, because said corner, there's all sorts of goings on in the box. I'm not blaming Liam Boyce for this.
I think we do everything right.
Because he's the one that hooks it away.
I was sat right behind this. I was in awe and watching it down the barrel.
Unbelievable. It's at the net, which is on my side. His first touch is actually a hindrance rather than a help. And he just lashes it.
It's not a cross. It's a shot.
No chance. He knows exactly what he's doing. Because even from the angle that's sort of behind the goal, there's an angle where it's literally at the right-hand side post. And it's dead on behind it. And you sort of see him have a wee nosy. What a hit from Connor Roden. It's an absolute worldie. I can't think of many, if any, better goals that I've seen from an opposition player at Tynecastle since I've been going, 20 years.
Well, Robbie said it was the best goal he's seen at Tynecastle since he's been here. Now, a lot of people went, does that include your time as a player because you were playing in the Bordeaux game?
That's a great shout. That's a contender.
But if it means managerially, apart from Ozturks, Raker the next week after the derby, where he did it again. I can't remember who
Wraith Rovers.
Wraith, yeah. But even that, it's less than
1-0, and Barry Mackay was the best player on the pitch that day on loan at Rovers. Just saying. Pointed him out to my dad then, and years down the line, here we are.
Excuse this. No.
I swear, he will back me up on that, 100%.
You're not taking credit for Barry Mackay 7 years later.
No, but I certainly am from the summer. You're welcome, Joe. Not a problem. Anytime you want a one-on-one meeting, we can discuss targets whenever,
It's just like, it's one of those goals where everybody around us just went, fair play. That's amazing. You can't get annoyed at that.
It's one of those where, had I not sat where I sit, it's a sly little, did you see that?
I think I did. I think I actually did clap. I was just like, fair play. That's amazing.
An absolute worldie. And look, I don't want to go all transfer talk here, but if the papers are to be believed, Scott Burns, I think, was reporting the Aberdeen one I can get, because obviously it's Jim Goodwin that's identified Ronan on loan from Wolves. But supposedly we could be in for him. What do you make of that?
What do you want?
I've watched him a couple of times. I think he's decent.
The only thing I know about him is that he scores rakers. That's all I know.
He loves a worldie. That's good enough for me.
But then he'll come to us and never score ever again.
We're told never to shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll develop Benny Bringamy syndrome. And exactly, like you said, his one goal was a tackle in essence.
Yes. Little bit of insight here, because I was boring and went and read Wolves forums about loan players. Because I saw this link.
That sounds like an exhilarating Saturday.
It was great, mate. It was the time of my life.
How come you didn't say no with the link?
I know, exactly. I'm so sorry. Basically, there's 6 players out on loan from Wolves just now. All of them are roughly at our level. Obviously, there's no one up here in the league, but there's 5 other players out at different clubs. And apparently, the kind of MO next season is to take those 6 players and move them up a level, whatever you take that to mean. So I don't know. 23s? No, incentive so it's like, I don't know how old Connor Ronan is.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. So rather than
playing at St Mirren.
Yeah, Saints are mid-table. It would be, a side that finishes towards the upper end of the Premiership.
But importantly, a side that could potentially be playing group stage European football.
I know a side that could potentially be playing European football.
Yes, exactly. So I think there's an aspect of which, whatever level the player has been at, you want to take it up a step. And I think Wolves could look at us and go, he's He's already played in that division for a season, so he knows it. And then an added bonus is that he can play at a higher level. That it won't be a regular thing; it will be an occasional thing, and it can get him tested at that level.
I thought I heard somebody say, I don't know if it was maybe on Sports Sound, Richard Gordon or whoever. I'm fairly certain I've heard somebody say that he's out of contract at the end of the season.
Not this season. He's got a year left.
All right, okay.
The reported figure, though, however, is $500,000.
Well, put it this way, I know a man that's currently unemployed, but wasn't, at Wolves so long ago. So Ian Cathro, why don't you chuck in a good word for us? Bring him home.
He'd run away if Cathro told him how he found Hearts.
What can I just say? Talking about Ian Cathro and Wolves there. Matt Doherty, we're in the boozer beforehand watching United Spurs. How is Matt Doherty a Premier League footballer? It genuinely astounds me.
It's the most embarrassing thing about English football.
Oh, your league loses all credibility. 15 million quid or something Spurs paid for him.
Unbelievable. He just looks like he's constantly terrified Andy Driver's going to appear at any moment.
Who's the bigger robbery? Doherty for 15 million or Ben Woodburn on loan from Liverpool?
Can we speak about Woodburn now?
By all means, the floor is yours.
Listen, me and Hearts, though, got a little bit of stick from one Richard Cobb.
There's a shock.
I know, exactly. Headline news. As Hearts, though, I believe, said something to the effect of, I will drive Ben Woodburn down to Liverpool myself and I'll hyperventilate at T-junctions. That was something to the effect of their tweet.
I'll chum them in the passenger seat. Fully
well, I said I don't drive and I'll still take that risk. So, this is the thing. Richard's point, and I get it, was that of all games to focus on, the game where he actually gets an assist is perhaps a bit harsh. And I do get that generally. If you look at the game as a whole, he did contribute. It wasn't just like one of those assists where it's a technicality, where it's like, oh, he was the last person to pass it.
I was going to say exactly that. Aside from Connor Ronan's Worldie, it's probably one of the best pieces of skill in the game because that's a hard ball to play.
It was very good.
And it's perfect.
Yeah, definitely. It's literally put on a plate for Harry. Outside that moment, though, I felt he was terrible again. I felt like I was about to say all the players that featured on the night. There was only 13 of them, and Toby Sibbick doesn't really count. So out of the 12
I forgot he was even on.
Yeah.
Tell us some highlights. I was like, when the hell did he come on?
Yeah. Out of the 12 players that featured, I'd say Atkinson and Woodburn were by far the two weakest. And Woodburn just... I really do apologise for whoever this was, because I can't remember who said it. But someone on Twitter was like, you can totally see why Ben Woodburn was signed for Liverpool and why he is where he is now, because on the ball, he's clearly got talent, he's clearly got the ability, but he has no heart, he has no desire, he has no strength. He just looks like he doesn't want to get involved in tackles. And I mean, if you want to speak about how, you probably as a football player, you never really hope that the sub that goes on for you does really well because it kind of proves you with the right player to come off.
To be ineffective or whatever.
Yeah, you couldn't have had a bigger impact and proof of, well, here's one guy doing one thing in the form of Woodburn for 63 minutes or whatever it was, and here's McInnes for half the time, and look at how much they imprinted on the game.
Half the time?
I mean, overall, like he was on the pitch for like 28 minutes or something like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, before we get to Aaron McInnes and his instant impact, I think you're spot on. It's not that I believe Ben Woodburn's a bad footballer. I don't ever think I've said that he's a poor footballer. My main gripe is his application or lack of. I just want to see that you're up for the fight, to be honest. I'm not disputing the talent. He is a talented boy, but we've seen it rarely because, again, it goes back to the old case of like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Mm. It's that simple for me. And you saying that about the right-hand side, I was feeling confident ahead of Livingston now. And
it's
Ross
just a
County
wee
and
bit.
all these other fixtures to come.
I don't think Woodburn should be starting though. We'll get
When's
to
Michael
that.
Smith back?
6 weeks.
6 weeks is too long.
Yeah, he probably will miss the cup game as well, which is terrifying.
Which of course we're going to come to. That's great. Fantastic. It's all coming up, Millhouse. It'll be fine. Relax.
But listen, from now on, it's just positivity because the rest of this game was class.
Yeah, and that was largely, in essence, like we say, due to Aaron McEneff's instant impact. What I will say is, despite being paid back at 2 each, I was very encouraged to see us still trying to play some lovely football, not letting it get us down too much, albeit the goal was an absolute worldie, like we say. The Andy Halliday chance I thought was really unlucky, where Mackay sort of slips it into Haring, finds Boyce. He plays a kind of first-time ball on the turn to Halliday, but it's the right idea, just a tiny wee bit of the wrong conviction, and it allows Jack Annick to make a save. But again, like we say, Aaron McEneff sends one for Nathaniel Atkinson out wide after receiving from Halkett, who dribbles out of defence as though he's John Suter. The Aussie shrugs off Jordan Jones for the first time and the last time. Looks to square for Sims before it eventually falls out to Aaron McEneff, who continues his run and seems to sort of just knee it. It's a volley with his thigh.
Yep.
Home. 26 seconds or whatever it is. Phenomenal impact. And this is my story. Obviously, Liam Corbett, who runs the account on Twitter, and he'd been very vocal about substitutes not changing games. Since Paisley, they've actually been really good at doing that. So long may that continue. Definitely,
especially as I said earlier, McEneff was the only sub that you would think, oh, they can come on and change the game. Obviously, like Macaulay Tate, Andy Kirk's, wee laddie, they could have, but we just don't know. That it's a complete gamble throwing on these young guys.
Loved Robbie saying that they get some of the win bonus as well. I hope they had an absolute blast.
Absolutely. But McEneff was, and I think he'll know it, he knew it as well, going, I'm probably going to get on in this game. This is my opportunity because there's no one else to come on for me. And as you say, he basically starts the move with a great pass across to Atkinson. And this is the thing, Atkinson does incredibly well to keep fighting and manage to get that ball across. And you can just see, I always love it when Aaron McEneff scores because he always goes ballistic.
He does. He goes nuts. And it, down in that corner as well, he's made a habit.
It's always in front of me. Like, I love it. But yeah, like you can just tell every single time he scores how much it means to him. And he's been very public in the last few days about speaking how he has been frustrated that he's not been getting the game time.
Rightly so, I might add, because
Absolutely.
Again, I was listening to Open Goal before we came on here, and Andy Halliday said that his application and whatnot and training has been consistent. All the boys seem to really like him. I do like McEneff. He gives us something different in midfield, I think. And he's had to be patient, had to bide his time, and talk about taking your opportunity. Delighted. I would love to see him start.
He needs to start on Saturday.
Ahead of Woodburn.
He has to. You can't, because I think, and obviously we'll get to his involvement in the final goal as well. I don't think if you come on and have that level of performance and then Ben Woodburn is started ahead of you, I think that kind of is a marker that it's like, that's it. You're going to have to go in the summer. Because
he's got every right to be knocking Robbie's door down from there on in. 100%.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we can talk about obviously the last goal. But Big Pete, we've both profused our love for him. He could have a hat trick. Because there's one where he fires over from a Sims cross, but he just blasts that unfortunately into the hospitality in the Gorgie, doesn't he? And then he heads over a Barry Mackay corner, which free header, but I don't know. I'm gonna defend Big Pedro. I don't think it's the easiest of free headers.
Yeah, it's like a diving header coming across.
You know what I mean? Like it would have had to have been phenomenal to loop over Anik and into the corner. Jack Anik also saved a free kick from Stephen Kingsley.
Oh my God. So did I.
And considering that I'd tweeted out off the account on the Friday saying that the last time that the two had met at Tynecastle, Stephen Kingsley scored a worldie free kick, I was thinking, if he bags this, I know exactly what I'm going to tweet. But inches from my defensive diamond. But it wouldn't be long before Hearts would seal the deal. 84 minutes on the clock. Nathaniel Atkinson contributing in an offensive sense, like you say. I'm actually starting to think that might have been a wee bit harsh earlier on. It spreads out wide to Aaron McEneff, who crosses for Ellis Sims to stab home from close range. First touch is decent enough there because it's goal bound. 4-2, game done. Hearts ahead to Hampden. Superb.
I wanted to say, Jimmy Sanderson was very harsh, I felt, on Aaron McEneff here.
Yeah, because he said, what was
he said? It's a terrible ball in.
And that Sims makes it a decent ball in.
Yeah. I think it's a great ball into a really dangerous area that allows Sims to just make contact with it and it goes in.
I don't know. It is a good ball. And it is sort of made by the run, but why can't we praise both Sims's positioning and the ball?
Exactly.
It takes two to tango, and ultimately they did.
I was so chuffed. It was so funny because literally about 45 seconds before that goal goes in, my dad nudges me and goes, Sims has been shite tonight, by the way. He's been absolutely rubbish.
Not having that. Not having that. Not at all, Graham. That is nonsense. My man holds up, brings others into play. I think
his argument was he was offside a lot.
I turned to the boys that were Slatey's first touch. I was like, doubt him now.
There's his first touch
now.
Yeah.
Bang. Suck on that.
I'm just delighted for him. He's come in and had such a huge impact, and he's just really reliable. And yeah, listen, I worry that we've maybe focused on too many negatives from that game, and they were kind of just all in the form of Atkinson and Woodburn. But generally on the night, really good performance overall. I want to say my personal man of the match was Halkett. He was just imperious yet again. Just, it is unbelievable. If you go back a year and watch the Queen of the South game where we got beat, and he looks like he's on ice skates at some times and just panicking and doesn't look to have any confidence. And then you come literally 12 months on, and he is now the defender that if he sees on the team sheet, you go, right, that's good. We've got solidity. We've got someone who we can trust, allow others to express themselves a wee bit more. And in my opinion, he's our best defender.
I'm just, sorry, I was listening to all that, but I'm just loading up the Scotland squad for the two friendlies. You're not telling me that Craig Halkett is a worse defender than Scott McKenna, for instance?
Yeah. I'm delighted he's not there, but he will be gutted after the season he's having.
It's the same with Stephen Kingsley. Like, Greg Taylor's included. I saw the TSF boys saying that I think Ryan, who is a Celtic fan, said that he wouldn't swap Greg Taylor for Stephen Kingsley.
That's insane.
I'm not having that at all. No chance. Stephen Kingsley is possibly the greatest defender of all time.
Good thing is, it doesn't fucking matter if they wouldn't take them because he's our worst.
I'm gutted for them, obviously not getting that, exposure and what have you.
Yeah, of course, but I'm delighted.
From a selfish perspective, thank you very much, Steve Clark. I will certainly take that. Can I just say, we have waxed lyrical about, a plethora of positives. I'm thinking back to an episode where you had slated Benny Beningame for not shooting on occasion when he's invited to.
I was loving this moment.
I was howling at this effort because he's invited to shoot by the crowd, and obviously now the monkey's off his back, and he does a great Peter Haring impression and just sends one high into the corgi stand.
I just couldn't believe he knew how to kick a ball that hard. He can do it. He's been proven that he can do it.
What a guy. What a guy. What a team. What a performance.
Barry Mackay must be having a fever dream, by the way.
He's spewing. He must be absolutely livid.
How of the most defensive midfielders I think I've ever seen at Hearts both got on the score sheet before he has.
Mate, it is a disgrace. More on that to come. Anyway, I don't know where I was going to go with this because it was a great night, but I couldn't help but think back to Motherwell in the League Cup under Levine. This totally reminded me of that game, and I know it's the same stage of a competition, albeit a different one, this being in the Scottish as opposed to the League. Same scoreline, our opponent scored an absolute worldie to equalise. just a fantastic contest, electric atmosphere under the lights. And that, to me, reminded me that when Tynecastle is rocking, there really is nowhere like it. So long live the quarter to 8 kickoffs. Big fan. And Gorgie was bouncing.
It was class.
Absolutely brilliant.
Buzzing.
So...
Oh, I'm no buzzing now.
Thoroughly enjoyed our evening. And as we alluded to earlier, going around the grounds, we were left with the 2 Edinburgh clubs and the 2 Glasgow clubs to complete the Scottish Cup draw. The draw was made, as Daniel said earlier, the first time ever that 4 was the last 4. Number 1 came first out the bowl, which was Celtic.
As soon as that happened, I knew what was going to come next. I just knew it.
I see, I was the total opposite. I was adamant that 2 was going to pop up, but thankfully that was not the case. It was number 4, meaning that Rangers would take on Celtic in an Old Firm semi-final. However, more importantly for us, I did not give a toss the way that the balls came out. My heart was racing, as it now means that Heart Midlothian and Hibernian will meet at Hampden Park yet again in Scotland's Premier Cup competition. Holy moly! Whoa!
I can't handle this.
Look, a game away from European group stage football. How does that sound?
At this point, I do not care. I just care about beating them. I don't care the ramifications of it. I don't even really give a shit about the Scottish Cup final if we get there. I'll just be like, that's a free hit. Doesn't matter. We take a 10-0 loss. Who gives a shit? We'll get relegated again. Doesn't matter. Just beat
the
them.
Bipolar nature of Heart Midlothian is back.
We need to beat them. We've got 2 derbies in a week. I will die.
That is mental.
I will die of stress. I can't handle that. No one can. Can we cancel the League One? Because it's going to be the worst game in the history of football. Because nobody wants to get hurt.
But say, look, this is merely theory. You're the one that's always been more adamant that that's 3rd secured. Say we mathematically secured 3rd, which isn't a stretch, with a victory over Hibs. Does that give us a bit of a morale boost heading into the Hampden game? Or do you think that just goes out the window?
I think either side, I think Hibs could beat us 10-0 in the week, or we could beat them 10-0 in the week, and it will have no bearing on the semi-final.
I'm checking if it's actually mathematically doable now that I'm mouthing off about this.
I don't think it is, because if we won both games, we would go...
No, we've not got 3 games.
No, we've got Livingston, then Ross County, then Hibs are the 3rd game.
Hibs are the 3rd game, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we won all 3, that would be 9 points, and we're currently 13 points clear, which would take us 22 points clear.
Yeah, 5 games to go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there is only 5 games to go.
At that stage?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did come on, Adam, back yourself.
I mean, I just think, this is the thing. I think that whoever wins that, say there's a winner, right? Say there's a winner in the league derby. I don't think it will benefit them, but I also don't think it'll be a hindrance to them, because I think
surely there's got to be, given that they both ended 0-0.
Maybe, but in the sense of, I think the team winning will be thinking, actually, folks on the other side, whichever team loses, their fans will go, that doesn't matter, we'll beat you in the more important game, and our players will use that as vengeance to try and be like, all right, you lost that one, make sure you don't lose this one. Whereas the winners will be saying, no, that means that we've got the momentum now, we're going to go in and it'll be easier.
I can't believe you're actually trying to convince me that I'd settle for a draw.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that.
To ensure that we win at Hampden.
No, I'm not saying that.
But that's how my mind's working. I'm thinking, if we're following that logic, a draw's another point on the board, albeit I'd be disappointed at not beating them at home again.
All I'm saying is I don't think that league game...
The Hampden game is the far more important one.
Yeah, I'm not saying settle for a draw, be happy with a win, loss, anything like that.
I know you're not.
I don't think it will affect it.
But if you were offered a draw with guarantee of us winning at Hampden, we're taking that.
I'd take a loss if it meant that we were winning at Hampden. I don't care about this derby. I don't care about this derby now. I mean, on the day it will be the only thing I care about. But
exactly. That's why I'm just like...
If you were to say to me, would you take a loss in the league when you're already whatever clear, but then you definitely will beat them at Hampden? It'll be like, I don't care what happens in that derby. The dream is to win them both. That is the absolute dream, and
that
it'll
would be sensational.
It'll be the biggest week of our lives as Hearts fans.
Here's a point for you. This will be Robbie's redemption.
Well, I said this on Twitter. Either
it
will be Robbie's redemption.
Robbie could redeem himself here.
Or we'll get beat at Hampden and folk will want him sacked, even though we've just got third by a mile in European football.
If he beats Hibs at Hampden and one of the Old Firm in the final to lift Hearts, the Scottish Cup, that's it.
Well,
that's it. You cannot possibly...
But yeah,
against them still.
Yeah, but that's like because he would then become a legend. He would be the best manager in our lifetimes, like statistically.
And I know that it's ifs, buts, and maybes. That's a halcyon scenario.
He did that,
I'm gonna have a look to see what price we are with.
If Robbie wins the cup, we should give him a 3.5-year deal. We should give him a 5-year deal if he wins the cup.
Competitions. Here we go. Right, Scottish Cup. This is with Sky Bet. Feel free to sponsor us. Get in touch. I'm just looking at the win outright. So Celtic are even money.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Rangers at 5-4. What price do you think Hearts are to win it outright?
At this
stage? Yeah.
Like 12-1.
You're far more generous than the bookies. Hibs are 11-1.
5-1?
Sevens you'll get 7-1 for Hearts to win the Scottish Cup at this stage.
I mean, I guess we're down to the final four, so it's like,
and we've got probably the easiest tie of the three.
Yeah, that's true. I was just thinking, I'm properly thinking with my heart's head instead of looking at it from a neutral perspective. Because from a neutral perspective, this should be us through to the final.
Our heads up our arse. Let's be honest. This is horrible.
Yes.
This is not nice.
I do not care about the Livingston and Ross County games at all. I do not care.
But you know,
I'm going to them both.
Get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is my attitude. I'm like, just get them over and done with and no one get hurt. It is Operation Stay Fit. Like, I just don't care. It's like, everybody stay fit and I'm fine. I don't care about the results. God. It's like, if everybody stays fit, that's fine.
Well, I suppose you're adamant that third's already out.
I think third is. I think we could lose both the games and still get third.
That's mathematically secure. But oh my god, this is horrible. This is not nice, man.
Right,
these are the types of games that make you question why we do this shit. And I'm not talking about the podcast.
No, just football fans.
Just be Hearts fans.
Right.
This is horrible.
Let's draw a line under it and focus on Livingston.
I couldn't give a toss.
I know you do.
It was resonating in the back of your mind.
You're like, move on.
This is where non-football fans just don't get it. Like, this game is the best part of a month away. It's no wonder I'm an insomniac at the minute. It's just I think I'll sleep about 6 hours till that game.
I know.
Never mind. Livy at Tynecastle Saturday.
Yes, it's fine. That's the biggest game of the season.
Beating them both times in the league. Progress past them on pens in the cup.
Does that mean if we win and because it's too tight? I was like, and if the other teams get beat, but if they do, then teams will just replace them in fourth. We can't mathematically do it this weekend.
Let's see, we're 13 points clear.
So we go
7 games to go.
Oh,
7 games, 21 points to play for.
Aye.
That's why I said the split. Pre-split is doable because Hibs are away to Aberdeen at the weekend. Who have Hibs got, actually? Hibs have got
a draw.
Hibs have got Aberdeen away, then they've got United at home, and then us away.
They could draw both of them. They love a draw.
Jim Goodwin's due a win as Aberdeen manager. That's all I'm going to say.
Is that who would we prefer a draw or a win for Aberdeen?
What Aberdeen? They're well. I say they're 4 points away from St Mirren. Obviously, that closes that gap. But it's quite.
That's what I mean.
It's funny to see them in 10th, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But that's what I mean. Like, would Aberdeen then replace?
Yeah, no, fully, because I want them to pull away from St Johnstone, and I want whoever is in the Championship playoff places to relegate St Johnstone, so that we never have to go back to McDermott Park. Sick of saying it.
Would Aberdeen and Hibs draw and not bring us closer to getting it mathematically done?
Well,
what would Aberdeen go to? If Aberdeen won, what would they go to?
Say in theory, Aberdeen and Hibs draw, right? Aberdeen would be on 33 points after 31 games. Hibs would go to 38 points after 31 games. And say we beat Livy, coupled with that draw, we would then be 15 points clear with 7 games
left
to go.
Oh, it's 7 left, yeah, sorry. Right. Then, yeah, an Aberdeen win. An Aberdeen win would be fine then.
Bye-bye, St Johnstone. This is a really depressing narrative that I've created because of where we are in the league. I'm sort of just looking at other teams like, don't really care.
Yeah, we're so much better than everybody else apart from the Old Firm.
Don't say that. That makes us seem arrogant.
I mean, it's not arrogance when you're 13 points clear. I think, listen, there's a really good chance.
Are jobbies. Dundee are jobbies.
I was just going to say,
it's just a mismatch.
But there's a really good chance Livingston could come to Tynecastle and beat us on Saturday. They're currently one of the most informed teams in the league.
And if we coupled that with a point apiece at Pittodrie, then obviously Livy open up a 2-point gap on Hibs.
So are you suggesting throwing the game against Livingston in the hope that Hibs...
No, of course not. Because I want third done. I'm sick of debating whether it's finished or not. Yeah. Just get it done, and then there's no debate.
What team would you play?
Probably go... Because I'm still pretty unaware of the injury situation. I'd probably go the exact same bar McInnes for Woodburn. And I know that McInnes not really on the right-hand side as such.
He did it, though.
Yeah.
He did it very well.
And at the end of the day, if he's more about wanting a chance, sometimes you've got to make those little sacrifices and play.
And he was drifting inside a lot.
Yeah. He and Atkinson linked up well, and he provided the ball from a wide berth for Sims.
I'd like him. I'd do the exact same. I'd pick the exact same team, but have McInnes in for Woodburn.
Score prediction?
2-1 us.
You barely ever have gone for a win against us in recent weeks.
I know. How?
2-1.
Nah. Aye. Yeah. 2-1. I think Nicky Devlin will score for them.
Nicky Devlin? Crikey.
Yeah. He's been getting loads of assists, and I think he'll score eventually. And then
I feel like it's the wrong side, given what you've said.
I know, but but they scored from that other side.
100%. It's going to be Alan Forrest. Or Forrest will cross for Bruce Anderson, who I wrote off at the start of the season.
God,
now he's
maybe I think we'll win because I forgot they've got Bruce Anderson now.
And Big Newbley.
2-2. I'm going 2-2.
2-2?
Yeah.
Livy.
I think Nicky Devlin and Bruce Anderson will score, and I think Boyce...
Mind you, last game, Tiny was a draw in the Cup, and we were, dare I say, fortunate to progress on penalties.
No, we were better. I think Boyce and... Fuck it, McInnes again. Cementing his place.
Oh, I like that.
What about you?
Well, we've not conceded in the league to them this season.
I didn't ken that.
But that's got to change. 3-0 and 1-0, was it not?
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
But apparently, I'm thinking we're going to have a disaster.
should have conceded in the trip through there, let's be honest.
God, that was Gordon's minute of magic.
And finally, we've scored over 2 goals in a game. Jesus.
Yeah.
In fact, you know what? I'm thinking about it. I might go for the same scoreline that I said last week. It was 3-1, too optimistic. We won 4-2. Get it up the lot of you. Yeah, 3-1 again. Fuck it.
Who are your goal scorers?
You
said Alan Forrest.
Scooping the barrel here. Yeah, Alan Forrest for Livy. And our number 18. It's got to happen eventually.
Oh.
Liam Boyce, because he bagged through there. And yeah, I'll go the big fella. Boyce, Sims, Baz.
Well, We will see what happens on Saturday. This has been a very eventful episode, despite only having one game to speak about. But
and a draw.
Yeah, exactly. We hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please let us know. You can get us on social media at Perth to Paisley. It's on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. It's much appreciated. If you're just listening to the audio version, please leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. It massively helps. You can also get in contact with us, perthtopaisley@gmail.com, on the email. Adam, how can they get you on all the socials?
They can get me on all the socials at Adam T. Kendall. And what about yourself, mate?
I'm at dmcIver22. We'll be back next week to discuss the Livingston game and kind of any other injury updates, fallouts ahead of the international break. But
Lots of players are going to be back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everybody's going to be fit. It's going to be great. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Come on the Hearts!